So what we're going to show in this video is how to do short rows with the wrap and turn method. There are a couple other methods that are popular right now, and we'll do videos for those too, but today is wrap and turn. So I have marked with the pins where I want the short rows to be with the orange pins. So I'm going to knit to the stitch that has the pin in it, and the next stitch I'm going to wrap and turn. So I leave the yarn where it is, slip the next stitch onto the right hand needle, bring the yarn to the other side and replace that stitch onto the left hand needle. So all I've really done is wrapped the working yarn around that one stitch. That's the wrap part. Here's the turn part. I'm a tight knitter, so for me the challenge of wrap and turn is when I turn to go back to not pull like this and separate that stitch so much from its little neighbor. I have to be a little ginger with the first stitch or two. But if you have normal tension or a more loose tension, you don't have to worry about that. It's only for us tight knitters. And then I'm going to purl back to where the other pin is. And normally in stockinette stitch, you would knit and you know, always in the round, you would always have the knit side facing you. So just for these short rows, and I have that actually between two stitches. So we're going to now do one on the purl side. So it's the same thing. You leave the yarn where it is, slip the next stitch to the right hand needle, put the yarn to the other side, replace that stitch to the left hand needle. So now the working yarn is wrapped around that stitch, and turn. And now we're going to talk about how to get rid of those wraps, how to hide those wraps on the next row. So when you're on the knit side, I'm now wondering why I made those so far apart, because watching me knit is like watching a shovel rust. But when we get back to the stitch with the wrap around it, you can see that the stitch has just a piece of yarn around its base. There's the wrap around the base of that stitch, so you take the right needle and go under that wrap, and then go into the stitch and knit it. And when you bring the needle back out, make sure it goes under the bar as well. And it will look a little distorted at first, but then you keep going. And this is what it will look like. I did this one earlier today. And I did a wrap and turn right there. And you can see a little tiny bulge that will actually block out beautifully. And if you look from there to there, you can see that there are more rows in this column of stitches than there are in that one. So that's what wrap and turn does. Now normally you would keep going in the round, and then you would do the same maneuver when you got to this one, because you always have the knit side facing you. But I want to show you how to tidy up the wrap and purl, or the wrap and turn on the purl side. So we have to purl over there. So we're going to purl across until we get to the gap. So there is the stitch that's wrapped. If you kind of pick it apart, you can see that there's a wrap around the base of that stitch. So what you do is you take the tip of the right hand needle and go under the bar on the stockinette stitch side, lift it up onto the working needle, and then purl two together from there. And then keep going. And this never looks very good while it's on the needle. You have to get up a row or two before it looks right. But if we get that where it's not being held out, you can see that the stockinette stitch is pretty much uninterrupted. And that little strand of the wrap goes to the back and hides. So here is where I wrapped and turned a couple of rows back. And you can see that there are more stitches in this column of stitches than there are in this column of stitches. And right there where that little distortion is where I did the wrap and turn. So that shows the wrap and turn method of doing short row shaping and how to hide the wraps on the next row or round. The next video we're going to do is short row shaping using a yarn over method, and after that we'll do short row shaping using the Japanese method, and I will give further recommendations about which one to use when.